So I've been following what was going on with the Evergreen State College shit because, and I have a particular interest in it because that's my hometown. That's where I grew up and was raised. I went to Capitol High School. I worked at a Walmart over in Tumwater. I love that town. Like, that's where I grew up. I remember going downtown every year and going to the arts walk, and in the evening on the first day, they've been doing this for about 10 years now. They have what is called the luminary procession, and it's generally sea creatures for some reason. People really like sea creatures to turn into luminary things, but they put like lights on paper mache animals, and a bunch of people parade and stuff, and usually the luminary procession's not that big of a deal and not that many people come, but it's a community thing, so people just do it as a community kind of voluntary thing. I'm sure you can go to the city council and like sign up and stuff like that and all that wonderful stuff. Anyway, the following day, that's when the big procession happens, and that's procession of the species, and so it's just anything really earth themed, and it's just lots of people having a great time, and it's a celebration of Earth Day. It happens usually around Earth Day, maybe a week before, week after, or sometimes right on Earth Day. And it's just great because so many people get downtown. I heard estimates when I was a kid of like 30,000 people would be downtown at one time, and Olympia, Washington's not that big of a place. It's maybe, I don't remember what my sister was saying, maybe 45,000 people. 50,000, I'm not really sure. The whole metro area right there, though, is maybe 50,000 people. And so to have 30,000 people in downtown Olympia is pretty impressive. And, I remember the first year I went, my dad, like, being a conservative from Iowa, thought it was so ridiculously funny that there were pregnant women walking down the street with their bellies painted and acting like total hippies and stuff, stuff like that. Stuff you just don't see out in the Midwest. And it's really funny, yeah. But it's a great town. I loved growing up there, and the liberals that I knew when I was growing up in Olympia, Washington, all the hippies and the greeners and the so-ons and the so-forths. If you don't understand the term greener, you obviously have never lived in Olympia, Washington. And by the way, greener is the name that we use for Evergreen State College students because we make fun of them, especially my parents. Because, Midwestern, more conservative, they'd see some guy walking down the street with dreadlocks, and every time their joke was they just wanted to go, this is purely a joke, purely a joke, so don't take this too seriously, but they wanted to, like, go hold him down and shave his head. That was their thing. They wanted to shave these guys' heads, all the guys with dreadlocks. They didn't like the dreadlocks. They hated the dreadlocks. I mean, I don't think they would have cared if it had been, like, an African-American person, but it's kind of like, you're purposely making your hair, naughty on purpose. Most people want their hair, smooth, and you can, and I think they thought it was also, like, non-hygienic was the other thing. They were like, oh my god, it's so gross or something. It's like, no, those people shower on a regular basis. You gotta know a little bit about dreadlocks before you can actually make, like, a judgment. It's, to me, I would never choose it, and when I see, like, white people doing it, it's a little weird, but, like, some people can pull it off. Like, it's not a By the way, this is not a cultural appropriation thing at all, because white people have been dreading their hair for as long as we've had hair. It's a thing. Okay? I mean, black people don't own it. They just don't. But black people, because their hair is, and I don't, is this word racist? Nappy? Is nappy racist now? Their hair's so nappy. It's so much easier to put into dreads, and it's a lot easier to keep in dreads. And from my understanding, a lot of black people do the dreadlocks because they want to keep length on their hair, and having long hair is like seen as like a point of pride. At least that's what my African American friend that I knew when I was growing up, that's what she told me. And I knew another girl, she had, her mom kept her hair, really must have worked with her hair every night, because she did not have dreads. She kept her hair in braids, and it was, I remember her hair, because it was always well oiled and always brushed out, always looked good. So her mother must have worked with that hair every single day, and it was, you know, at least it's probably longer than what I've got my hair now, which is good. And I remember seeing pictures of her later with like it down and it being straight, and it's pretty long now. So it's like a point of pride with them. They keep their hair nice. And putting it into dreadlocks means that they're able to take care of it better. Anyway, but those people are perfectly clean. And my parents are a little too old school for my taste, so I don't have a problem with dreadlocks. The point of this video, getting into it, and I know I've been rambling for a while, but my thing is, I'm a little embarrassed. The racism that I've seen come out of Evergreen State College is absolutely fucking embarrassing. It's the most embarrassing thing, most embarrassed I've ever been in my life. Because I love that town. I love that town so much, and I've been telling everybody about how, you know, in Olympia, you know, people just aren't like that. People are peaceful. No one's scared. We're all just kind of chill, you know. And because I grew up there, and you know, I knew the hippies across the street, and the hippies across the street just kind of like to play music in their front yard. And the brother of the guy who rented out the rooms in his house worked at my elementary school and played music in the classrooms, and we thought he was a lot of fun, and we thought he was great. And you know, and then the guy who actually owned the house across the street from us was a family friend who we'd known for years, who lived in the house next to it. And you know, that's the community I grew up in. And the liberals I knew were oh yeah, I'm gonna go get a tattoo on my ankle with the anarchist symbol in there, and I'm gonna be real cool, and I'm gonna talk about communism as if it makes sense. And then of course, in a liberal town, if you're a conservative, you're obliged to say, just as politeness goes, oh yeah, communism, it's a good idea, but it just doesn't work. And so you have to like give credence to it. And then later on I learned more about communism, like, oh, that doesn't fucking work at all. No, that's a fucking terrible, tyrannical sort of idea. No, it's a shitty idea. But in a liberal town growing up, not knowing anything about it, that's kind of the obligatory thing to say, unless you want to get into a discussion. And that's what it would be. It would be a discussion at that point. When I was growing up, this was a discussion. This was not, let's throw rocks, let's start riots, let's do all this bullshit. That's not what I remember growing up with in Olympia, Washington. there is a video from the Evergreen situation, and I'm sure a lot of people have seen it, of a professor standing up to these students, trying to have a conversation with him. And he's very, very calm. He's a progressive liberal, like super progressive liberal, right? And he's standing up to the racism, you know, and he's standing up to the crowd, and he's trying to have this conversation where he's like, okay, so I don't want to have a debate, I want to have a didactic. And a didactic means we have a conversation and learn from one another. And a debate means, you're trying to win. I don't want to have a debate, I want to have a didactic. And it kind of goes along like that. He's trying to actually communicate with them, and they're not. They're like, we don't want to listen to you. You're stupid. You're white. Why are you here? Essentially. And then they, you know, oh man, but that professor, that professor, that was always my impression of Olympia, Washington, was that professor. Very liberal, but not insane to the point that going back to segregation was a good idea. And not to the point where he wants to cause violence. You know, he would be the type of guy against war, pro-progressionism, pro-everything liberal under the sun that you can think of, but really liberal, not like the violent, crazy shit that's going on right now. That's what Olympia was to me when I was growing up. And I am fucking embarrassed that it has devolved into these spoiled assholes. And I know it's not the majority of the people in Olympia, Washington. No, it's a tiny fraction of them, right? But they're there. My town is infected too. Not just Portland, not just Seattle, not just California as a whole. No. My little town. Place I was going, you know, when I think maybe a month ago or so, I went because they were having an arts walk. And I had an amazing time. I had been missing Olympia so much. And it was like, and every chance that I can get up there and go just experience the sound and the city and the city. and you know, do something. I love it. I love it. I love it. Man, I had another opportunity recently to go like spend some time up there. I had a dentist appointment up there because my childhood dentist is an amazing dentist, and oh my god, I walked in there and he's like, oh hey, you were classmates with my son and blah 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 and stuff like that. Great guy. Anyway, I don't want to stay up there though this time. I'm like, God, it's cloudy out. I'm up here for a dentist appointment. I just got my teeth cleaned. Do I really want to do anything in this town? And in the forefront of my mind is all this Evergreen shit that's going on. I'm like, no, I don't want to stay here. No better than Portland. You know, it's no better than Portland. But there's an upside to this story, because what has been happening at the Evergreen State College can only be described as pure racism. It's pure racism. These motherfuckers, they come on school, and it's not a voluntary choice to them. You need to get off the fucking school if you're white, or else we're going to come hunt you down. We're going to come yell in your face. We're going to come confront you because you're an evil white person. That's what's been going on at Evergreen State College. And then their fucking cucked up little president is giving in to all of their demands. He's not like, no, you guys are kind of kicked out of school. Please leave. I'm going to call the Olympia Police Department to come remove you if you don't leave voluntarily. See, if I was the president of a school and a bunch of students did that and were yelling racist shit, yelling black power, intimidating my professors, hunting down people to chant at them and yell at them and cuss at them and tell them that they're evil and that they're racist and then treat him with such disrespect. They were laughing at him and they were telling him he couldn't point as if that was somehow harmful. And when he would capitulate to what they were demanding of him in that very moment in time, they would laugh at him. And he would be very, demure, about it, and just... Oh, it's disgusting. They just no respect whatsoever. If I had these students in my school and I thought to myself, is this a good representation of my school as a president of the university or state college or whatever and so forth? My conclusion would be, fuck no, these people have to go. Okay, well, now as a response, Washington State is considering a bill that will defund Evergreen State College. Oh, isn't that hilarious? I think that's just great because the price of tuition is going to double if that's the case. And a lot of those kids who are able to go to Evergreen State College are not going to be able to go there if it becomes privatized. Because that's the fact. When you become privatized, you are so much more expensive because the cost of running a university is high, and it might be a little bit of a racket. It's hard to say. But regardless of whether or not what the running costs really are of running the university and paying the salaries and so on and so forth, the state giving them money, them pulling out the money is going to give them a reason to raise the tuition, regardless. Either it's going to be an excuse or a real reason to raise the tuition. And maybe Evergreen would try to do it reasonably at first, but eventually it would be a lot higher. And a lot of those kids going there right now wouldn't be able to afford it. And I don't know if Evergreen State College would survive that. So, with their bad behavior, they need to kick these students out of their school. That's what needs to happen. When you act like racist cunts at a university, you need to get kicked out because you are a bad reflection on that university. It doesn't matter what your grades are. It doesn't matter how intelligent you are. But obviously, if you're hunting down small little white women and screaming at them, hey, hey, ho, ho, these racist teachers have got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, these racist teachers have got to go. It's a little catchy. But that's what people think of Evergreen State College now. And in reflection, that's what they think of my hometown. And that's disgusting to me. Because Olympia is not a racist place. It is not. I grew up there. I know. It is not a racist place. We got quite a population of Hispanics. I went to school with lots of Hispanics. I want to say there's a huge population of African American people, but there is a number out there. There's a good population of Asian people from multiple different origins. There's Indian people, etc., etc. It's not a racist place. I've never come across racism growing up there, and then to hear these people who were at Evergreen State College in my hometown chanting at a small little white woman hey, ho, ho, these racist people, professors have got to go, and they're surrounding her, and she's trying to make herself as small as possible, and they're intimidating the shit out of her. It makes me so embarrassed that I grew up there. It makes me so embarrassed that, you know, I would sit there and talk to these students like it was nothing. Because they've become so radicalized. It's like, God, I don't even want to be up there anymore. I don't want to fucking come across one of these cunts. I don't want to have to talk to these people. I don't want to be told that I'm racist, because any sort of conversation I would have with them would inevitably end up with them calling me racist because I'm so goddamn white. I mean, I'm really fair-skinned. Northern European fair-skinned, okay? I am about as white as they come. My dad, he thinks maybe on his side there might be some African American, maybe a little Native American. I don't think so. I think I'm just white. So, clearly, I would be a target. And I'm conservative. And I voted for Trump. So I just didn't want to do it. And so these protests, they've made me not want to be in my own hometown. I'm so embarrassed. I don't even want to be there. I don't want to go downtown. I don't want to see all the weirdos. I don't want to go down and get fries from Jake's on 4th. I did stop at Wally's and get an amazing chicken parmesan sub. But I was really hungry and I had like an hour till my dentist appointment. So I was like, fuck it. I am going to go spend the $11.50 that it takes to get one of these amazing sandwiches. And I'm going to nom. And it was a good choice. It really was. If you ever have a chance to stop in Olympia, Washington, go to the west side, go to Wally's, get yourself a chicken parmesan sub. It's delicious. And I think I'm going to end on that. Because that's the only part of Olympia right now that I'm not embarrassed about.